Hey y'all, I'm coming back to talk to y'all about the difference between virtual assistants and executive assistants, right? Because there's a little bit of confusion, and we talked about in the previous video, virtual assistants are simply someone who can support you with a basic level of administrative task from a remote place, right? And this person can be as simple as a general VA, but they can go as niche down as someone who specifically focuses on let's say a social media management VA, someone who is an online business manager, virtual assistant, they only support you working remotely. And so the key part of virtual assistant is that person can support you remotely. So let's break down what these roles are. Both virtual assistants or VAs and executive assistants or EAs, they play crucial roles in helping business owners, right? And their job is to help your business or you run smoothly, right? But their tasks, their locations, their approaches may differ. So they may be quite different. And so, what exactly is a virtual assistant, and what makes an executive assistant more unique, right? And so a VA is someone who works remotely, and they handle a variety of tasks. So it really depends on what you're looking for, what tasks you need to offload for them, what they specialize in to really kind of determine this. Because, like I said, VAs often specialize in specific areas like social media management, customer service, data entry. Some people only specialize in the general tasks like inbox and calendar management, scheduling, data entry, research, those kinds of things. But one of the biggest benefits in hiring a virtual assistant is often their flexibility. They can work from anywhere in the world, and they often offer services on a freelance or contractor basis. That way, you're not having to offer benefits. They're not working full time hours. They're working just enough to do the job, right? So many people, they may have an hourly rate for virtual assistants. Some virtual assistants have a retainer package. And so you pay them for a certain price for a certain amount of hours. So let's just say, for example, for my executive assistants offer, as a VA, I only do retainers. I no longer do hourly rates. But if you want to work with me as an executive, if you want me to be your executive assistant, you may have to pay me starting at $1,500, and that's going to be a maximum of 25 hours a month, right? And so from there, that's a retainer rate or a retainer package. So every month up until 25 hours, you're paying me a certain amount versus someone who may charge an hourly rate where you're paying them 25, 45, $75 every hour for whatever work it is that you're giving to them, right? And so the whole benefit of like being a contractor, not being full time, being a freelancer, the benefit is this is going to be perfect for someone who's looking for part time help or project based help, someone who's not really ready to begin paying someone on a full time basis, someone who's not really looking to offer benefits. You see what I'm saying? And so, since VAs, they don't need to be physically present, they're ideal for handling tasks that can be done digitally, obviously, right? So things like managing your inbox, managing your schedule, managing your travel arrangements, handling routine administrative tasks. So you may be somebody like, hey, I need some research done on this company or this bill, this policy. I need some research done on, this new approach. If you're a behavioral health clinician, I need some research done on this particular grant, all of these different things. Someone who can work remotely should be able to do anything that can be done online for you, right? And because they often charge by the hour or by retainer, they're typically more cost effective than somebody who may be a full-time employee. And so a full-time employee, if you're paying them, $15 an hour and they're working 40 hours a week, now you multiply 40, 40 times 15 times 4, that's going to give you their salary, right? Versus someone that's like, hey, up to 25 hours, I can get whatever the work you need done. Boom, $1,500, which may come out cheaper. And of course, if you need them to continue to, they may have, hey, for 25 hours, it's this amount, for 45 hours, it's this amount, you know what I'm saying? So you may be able to adjust based on that. If you find that like, hey, I actually need you for more time, but I'm still not really looking for a full-time person just yet. And so let's talk about executive assistants, right? Unlike virtual assistants, executive assistants often work in office. So usually, generally, an executive assistant was somebody who will work inside of the office. Right now, you have virtual assistants who can specialize in executive assistants. So for me, I specialize in executive assistants, and I support you with anything that can be done virtually, right? But I consider myself an EAVA. Okay, if that makes sense. But usually, executive assistants for the longest have been someone who worked in office. They're directly supporting a company's senior leadership. And an executive assistant's role tend to be more integrated in the company's business. The reason why this has changed because most businesses have become digital businesses or online businesses. And so a lot of people aren't really buying office space now. A lot of people are working from home. A lot of people are doing like telehealth and things of that nature. Everything has gone digital. And so that's why also executive assistance roles can now be more digital or virtual versus the in-office thing. And that way you see executive assistants, I'm still being integrated into someone's core business functions. And still being able to support all around, right? EAs are often trusted, with sensitive information. So with executive assistants, it's very important that you have a level of confidentiality, a level of integrity, and all of the things. Virtual assistants can also work with people's personal information. We use tools like LastPass to support with that. There's other tools that you can support with that as well. Also, they usually help high level executives. And so for me, I've worked with clinicians, I've worked with executive directors of nonprofit organizations, I've worked with founders of nonprofit organizations. I've also worked with service-based professionals. I've also worked with marketing agencies, all of the different things. And so you can work with high level tasks. You can do a variety of tasks as an executive assistant, like managing calendars, coordinating meetings in large events, assisting with strategic planning. Executive assistants can do all of those things, right? Another thing, EAs, they tend to handle tasks that require a physical presence sometimes. A lot of times that kind of gets into your EA and PA because an executive assistant, like I said, they can do a lot of stuff remotely. Your personal assistant, that person has to be in person. That person is usually running errands like, hey, you need groceries, let me go get you some groceries. Hey, you need some coffee, let me go get you some coffee. You need meal prep, let me go get you some meal prep. You need laundry order, let me go hire somebody to do your laundry. You need a cleaning service, personal assistants, they may be the one in there doing the work for you. They may be in there picking up your children, all of that stuff. So understand that a lot of these roles overlap. Okay. But from the start, an executive assistant was the person who was more likely in person, helping you with things that needed to be done in person. So you will see an executive assistant or a secretary in an office and they're filing paperwork. They're at the computer, they're welcoming clients in. But like I said, as things have gone more digital, things have become more remote where someone can do executive assistant work from home. So a lot of the differences that used to be the case are not really the case anymore. But there are still companies who prefer an executive assistant versus a virtual assistant because they do want the person to come in office. So those companies who require a person that's present, or they may have a space, an office space, they are probably still going to prefer an executive assistant over a virtual assistant, if that makes sense. EAs also tend to bring, a deep knowledge of the company with them. Whereas a virtual assistant, yeah, they understand your company, but they may be more focused on getting a task done or a job done versus like being very integrated into your business outside of the level that they need to do the work, right? Usually you will find a virtual assistant. Some people hire virtual assistants and their goal isn't to work with them full term. They just want to work with them for a little bit, for a couple of months to do a certain thing. Whereas someone who's hiring an executive assistant, they're looking for someone who is looking to remain with them for a year, 2 years, 3 years, like a lifelong partnership. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so how do you choose between a VA and an EA? The key difference is going to come down to the level of support you need, period. So if your task can be done remotely and only remotely, you can do a virtual assistant who specializes in executive assistance, right? Or a virtual assistant who only can do the things that you need them to do. Whereas if you're needing an executive assistant that's coming in person, or you want somebody who can come up to your office space, then you hire an executive assistant. And so that's going to be the biggest difference. Like, can they do everything from anywhere in the world, or do you need them in the city that you're in the state? Do you need them to be available? A virtual assistant is often going to be very flexible, as opposed to your executive assistant. That person is going to have a little amount of flexibility because they're going to need to be able to communicate with you more frequently, all of the things. So you may talk to a virtual assistant once a week, every other week, whereas your executive assistant, you may be talking to them, multiple times a week, or, multiple times a day. And so let's break it down a little bit further, right? So you might hire a virtual assistant if you're a startup or a small business and you need just a part-time help situation. All right. You might hire a virtual assistant if you want to outsource some digital tasks like inbox management or calendar management or customer service or social media. Or you might hire a virtual assistant if you prefer the flexibility of the remote work, right? On the flip hand, you might hire an executive assistant if you're an executive and you have a packed schedule, you need full-time personalized support, you want to be able to support people, you want to be able to have this executive assistant working with multiple executives in your company. You want to hire executive assistants if you require in-person help, like preparing for meetings, making sure stuff is printed, making sure the office supplies are managed. You want to hire an executive assistant if you want someone who understands your business inside and out and can provide that strategic support. And so that's going to be the difference. This person is going to be an executive assistant is going to be your right-hand person. And they're going to be able to support you in a capacity greater than what a virtual assistant would normally do. So that's why I said, for me, yes, I offer an executive assistant service, but I only offer it remotely. And I'm able to do it so I can meet with you frequently. I'm going to be, committed to understanding your business inside and out. I'm going to go beyond just doing those high level administrative tasks. I'm also going to offer strategic support. I'm also going to go above and beyond what a normal virtual assistant might do. And so, yeah, so at the end of the day, both virtual assistants and executive assistants are very important. It really depends on the capacity you need them in or the specific task you want them to support you in. And then ultimately, the type of work. Can they be remote? Can they work anywhere, or do you need them in person? That's going to be your biggest difference. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any other specific questions on the differences between a VA and an EA, remember there's overlap. But if you have any specific questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll follow up with another video. All right, y'all. See y'all in the next one. Bye.